doing, folks? Vidal SuperNinja here, and we are back with another episode of Gamerpedia. And in today's chapter, we're covering the legendary, the infamous Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the NES. This is going to be the first of many, and I mean many, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles titles that are going to be covered under the Gamerpedia banner. Comics, the games, the movies, the cartoons. We're going to be talking about everything in this fashion. So, if you do like what you see, please like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about the channel, help a ninja out. We're going to be getting right into this one, so without any further ado, let's get right to it. The first game. I almost hate the fact that this is one of the first Ninja Turtles games I'll be reviewing. What can I say about this game that hasn't been said by a bunch of angry YouTubers already? The original NES game is polarizing to say the least. Love it or hate it, it seems anyone who has played it has strong feelings about it one way or another. There's always a lot of emotion surrounding it, dissecting and criticizing the game's many flaws, oftentimes to an extreme degree. In a lot of ways, this game is almost directly responsible for giving rise to the angry YouTuber gimmick. But I've also noticed a trend in recent years to give this game another try and offer it a bit of a redemption arc, trying to emphasize and highlight its strengths. Truth be told, I stand somewhere right in the middle of all this. I could appreciate some of its qualities and highlight some of the good things about it, but I could admit that there's some bias connected to the nostalgia I have for the Ninja Turtles and the era that they dominated the world of entertainment.
Fresh from the sewer, and into your Nintendo Entertainment System comes Ultra's version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now you can take control of these heroes in a half shell as they nunchuck, swim, and bazooka blast their way through sewers and streets, ridding the world of rival robots, wretched ruffians, and the evil Foot Clan forever. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They're out of the sewers and available where Ultra games are sold.
This game was being produced during the early stages of the Turtles' popularity. They didn't quite know what they had yet. Turtle Mania wouldn't reach its peak until soon after this. The comic book was an unexpected success. The toy line and the cartoons were really starting to pick up steam. So naturally, with video games quickly becoming the powerhouse industry we know it as today, there needed to be a Ninja Turtles video game. And there were several versions of this game produced for different consoles and PCs of the era. The quality varied vastly between the ports, with some of them being pretty good, and others that made the Nintendo version look like a gaming masterpiece. As of this video, our focus will be on the NES version, as I feel that this is the most well-known definitive vision of the game. The story and setup is simple here. Shredder and his Foot Clan have kidnapped April O'Neil and have planted bombs at a dam nearby the city. You play as one of any of the 4 Ninja Turtles with the ability to switch between them at any time and set off to rescue April and stop the Foot Clan. What can I say about this game that hasn't been said about a million angry YouTubers already? It's fucking tough. Extremely challenging. I'd best describe my feelings towards this game as being in a toxic relationship. One with really good makeup sex. I know it's bad for me. It beats me up, and it doesn't give a single fuck about my feelings. But for some damn reason, I keep coming back to it. I can't explain it, but if you've played it, you know exactly what I mean. There are so many things I absolutely hate about this game, but the nostalgia factor is so strong that I'm still here playing it, talking about it in 2022.
Here's what the latest video game, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, looks like on Nintendo. Mondo to the max. Cowabunga. Tubular. Radical. And here's what it looks like on Sega. So if you want to catch the awesome Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in action, you'd better buy Nintendo, because the only turtles you'll get on Sega are these.
The four turtles have different weapons, different strengths, and all have different attack range. But we all know Donatello is really the only truly viable character in this game, with Leonardo coming in a close second, with Raph and Mikey serving as human meat shields. The balance is all over the freaking place here. A lot of these enemies don't have any hit stun whatsoever. Some enemies are weak to certain turtles' weapons, but most enemies will blow right through you and take a few chunks out of your health before you can move on to the next area. So unless you memorize every enemy's weakness, there is going to be a shitload of trial and error. You will see a lot of that game over screen. Now, me as a gamer, normally, I love games with steep difficulty settings. Games like Castlevania, Contra, Ninja Gaiden, Mega Man. Shit, even the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles ripoff in Battletoads was a lot of fun. These games were masterfully crafted, and if most of these games seemed too hard, it was usually because you just weren't good enough yet. It took you time, patience, strategy, recognizing enemy patterns, knowing the level layout. They all had tight controls, precise platforming. Most of the things that make this game hard are terrible design choices. Cheap enemy placement, terrible level layouts, a counterintuitive sense of direction, and just about as well balanced as I am after about my 10th shot of whiskey.
Julian! I don't know where I felt like I get a little drink around here, do you, bud?
The game was made early into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon run, so there wasn't a large variety of enemy types that the developers of the game could draw from the series, the show, or the comic book. We do see some familiar faces like Bebop, Rocksteady, Shredder, and the Technodrome. But for the most part, you'll be fighting original mutants, robots, aliens, ninjas, and whatever the hell the rest of these things are. The first level has you in a Legend of Zelda-like open world with a top-down view of New York City. Playing this game with one of my best friends, who had never played this game before, was quite interesting to watch. He pressed start with all the enthusiasm of a die-hard Ninja Turtles fan, ready and willing to take part in this grand adventure. And a mere few seconds later, he was immediately bulldozed by a truck. Seconds, literally seconds into the game, and it immediately dawned on him that some of the things he had heard about the difficulty in this game were true. We both had a good long laugh at his 5-second run. It wasn't very long before all 4 of his turtles were dead. I don't think that man's seen a game over screen faster in his life. But, like many of us, he insisted on trying again, and try he did. Together, we took turns playing as different turtles, trying to pool our skills to help us beat this game. This was a similar approach I took back in the day with my younger brother and best friends, each of us controlling our own turtle, based on whoever we thought was our favorite. In this fashion, we took what is technically a single-player nightmare and turned it into what was essentially a multiplayer nightmare. Together, the four of us got our ass beat relentlessly. And for many years on and off, we tried and failed to come back and beat this game. Like I said before, an abusive relationship, one I can't stop coming back to. If you manage to conquer the first stage, you're given a scoop by April O'Neil about the bombs located in the dam near the city. And so you enter one of the most infamous water levels in all of video games. It is literally sink or swim if you have exactly 2 minutes and 20 seconds to navigate the underwater caverns. Everything there ever was to hate about a water level is perfectly captured here. You're slower. The controls are sluggish at best. There are freaking traps everywhere. Just about everything and anything you touch can kill you. If you don't know where you're going to die. And chances are, even if you know where you're going to die. Ugh, I hate this level, and I always will. There really is no sense of direction, and you will only win this after multiple attempts, memorizing the level layout and trap placement. Fail to disarm even one of the bombs in the allotted time, and boom! It's game over. You gotta start not just the water level over again, but even the stage before that. The game's own little way of saying, get the out of here. Get to the back of the line. It's just the way games were back in those days. The game's almost daring you to turn this shit off and try to find something else to play. But this was the 80s. Everyone was broke, and there weren't that many options. Assuming you're able to disable the bombs and return to the city, you're treated to a pretty cool cutscene, which is very familiar to the plot of the first live-action TMNT movie. The Turtles arrive at their underground lair to find that it's been ransacked. Moments later, Shredder appears on the TV, revealing that he has kidnapped Splinter, and if the Turtles want to see him again, they must challenge the Foot Clan. And so the Turtles are back on the scene to challenge Shredder's forces. They'll fight their way through various locations, all up and down the streets of New York, through shady-looking warehouses and factories, sewer mazes, building rooftops, airport bases, and alien-infested caverns, before finally finding the Technodrome itself, which initially starts off as a boss fight, which I thought was pretty cool, even if the hit detection here is wonky as shit. Once you destroy the Technodrome's outer defense, you make your way inside, where you will face the greatest challenges the game has to offer. This level is completely relentless, and you will need to employ every strategy, exploit, cheap trick, and every bit of the skill you acquired along the way. This is where it becomes essential to have as many of the sub-weapons you might have found throughout the game stocked up. All of them come in the form of projectiles. You have your standard shurikens, your triple shurikens, which serve as a sort of spread shot, your boomerang, which doesn't travel very far but has the unique feature of replenishing your stock once it returns back to you, and finally the Ki, no doubt the strongest and the rarest weapon in the game. If you're fortunate enough to get your hands on some of these, you can pretty much plow through most of the enemies of the game. After battling your way through the armies of the Foot and the creatures of Dimension X, You come face to face with the final showdown as the Shredder appears. Now, after all you've been through to finally get here, I have to say, comparatively speaking, Shredder is a chump. He has one or two dangerous moves, but compared to some of the other bosses, shit, even some of the regular enemies will give you a tougher time. But perhaps this is some kind of award for enduring such hardships. Take down Shredder and claim your prize. The ending sees Master Splinter return to his human form, as he thanks you for your efforts. There are few games that can match my sense of accomplishment upon beating it. It really did take every bit of skill and patience I had. I could only recommend this to the most old school of retro gamers and the most die-hard of Ninja Turtles fans. I doubt many newcomers will be able to pick up, play, and enjoy this game the way we did back in the 80s and 90s. Back then, for many of us, Ninja Turtles was everything. And so there will always be a nostalgic place for this game in my heart, as I'm sure is the case for many of you. For all its shortcomings and complaints I have about its flaws, that 80s NES hard charm is so strong here. Even though Ninja Turtles at the time were heavily geared towards kids, there is something about its presentation that matches the grittiness of the comic books more than it does the cartoon. This game has a ferociousness that I think many teenagers and adults might appreciate. That same energy is carried through the soundtrack, which I think is some of the best the NES has to offer. I mean, some of these tracks are bangers. On the next episode of Gamerpedia.